What do we need to do differently?
I'm Tony Kornheiser. Pizzazz. This doesn't work.
You know what? Is this like a flashback to the early days of PTI? We played those stupid games.
I love those games.
Love to dress up.
I love those games.
Those are so. You
Love
look
to
like
dress
Bennett Surf just now.
No.
And by the way,
I think basically I was an Elton John Halloween costume.
As long as Greedy or Stephen A. didn't get the Emmy, I'm fine.
I'm glad you said that. I'm leaving that one alone. Welcome to PTI, boys and girls. In today's episode, the tush push lives. The Pacers and the Knicks tip off, and PK Subban joins us for 5 good minutes. But we begin today with the Oklahoma City Thunder outscoring the Minnesota Timberwolves 70-40 in the second half last night and cruising to victory in game one of their series, 114-88. The Timberwolves took 51 threes. They made only 15. That's 29.4%. Oklahoma City forced 19 turnovers. They scored 31 points off of them. Wilbon, what did last night's result tell you about each team?
Well, it tells me more about, it does tell me, that reminds me that Oklahoma City has the best defense, and you pointed this out yesterday, best defense in basketball. And when they pack it, they're daring you to take outside shots. And Anthony Edwards, who's supposed to be a star by now, he gave in. He took the bait. Dude, what are you doing? When I was a young sports writer and played some pickup basketball against NBA players back in the day, we had a rule for Manute Bol, who would come down and play with us. And the rule was Manute could not come in the paint because it's Manute Bol. It was 7'7". No, it's unfair. Right. Anthony Edwards looked like he was playing by those rules. Can't come in the paint. One shot at the rim, and they took 51 threes. No, that's not what the Timberwolves do. I expect them to adjust, and maybe the defense of Oklahoma City was just so good that Minnesota couldn't figure out what to do. Well, they better figure it out by game two.
You played basketball with NBA players?
Yeah.
While you were covering?
Yeah, Rick Mahorn.
Is there anybody you were better than?
No.
You sure? Because, I would have thought you would say you were better than
knocked me
4 or 5 guys.
Good.
All right, so as I've told you 10,000 times, game one is the least important game of the series.
Yep.
And if this goes 7, game one will be forgotten. But if this is the pattern of the series, it won't go more than 5. It won't. Oklahoma City, their defense, they were all over Minnesota. They've been all over teams all year long. They are the number one defense against 2-point shots. They have the number one defense against 3-point shots, and they have the number one defense against points in the paint. Our friend Tim Legler calls this the Triple Crown, right? Because that's what they do.
It's fair.
88 points for Minnesota is the second lowest amount of points they had all regular season and all playoffs. You mentioned Anthony Edwards, who I know you love and I don't love as much as you. Anthony Edwards last night, 3 of 8 from 3. Not very good, but better than Naz Reid at 0 for 7, Dante DiVincenzo 3 of 12, Mike Conley 1 of 5.
Those other guys were 17%. Julius Randle,
Alexander
who I
Walker,
told you
2
was
of
going to
9.
play well, did play well. Nobody else.
The other thing that they do is they force turnovers and they score points off them. They're number one in those categories. In the playoffs so far, they are averaging 25 points off turnovers every single game. And if you want to look at the matchup of the great stars, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and Ant-Man, right, who I know you tout all the time. Okay, right. So Gilgeous-Alexander had 31 points and 9 assists, and Ant-Man had 18 points and 3 assists and 4 turnovers, and only took 13 shots. They cannot win if their best player takes 13 shots.
This game, 2, coming up tomorrow night,
big game
again in Oklahoma City, it's all about what it is that Minnesota's going to do to change those numbers that you, because they have to change them or they'll be down 0-2, right? I think this is going to be a long series because I think they're going to, Finch is a good coach and Anthony Edwards is
But if
potent
game 2
goes like that, the series short.
Thank you.
Agree.
We move now to tonight's game 1 in the Eastern Conference Finals. The Pacers are at the Knicks. Guards are at the focus here. New York's Jalen Brunson, Indiana's Tyrese Halliburton. The Pacers have won 21 of their last 26 games, regular season and playoffs. The Knicks are coming off 2 grueling series, beating the Pistons and the Celtics. Wilbon, who do you favor in the series?
Tony, I think I favor the Knicks. You can tell I'm not feeling real confident in that. I think the thing about these 2 series, East and West, is they're too close to call. I really believe both of them could go 7 games. And I look at the Pacers and what it is they do. And by the way, you always tease me, and appropriately, because I love Tibbs. But there's a coach on the Indiana Pacers.
He knows what he's doing.
Yeah. And Rick Carlisle, who you and I have been around and listened to since college, player in college.
Yeah.
He knows what he's doing. And they have depth, and they play with a pace that could give the Knicks problems. Because the Knicks don't have that kind of depth.
So why are you
maybe
picking
they
the
are
Knicks?
banged
Tell me why
up.
you're picking the Knicks.
Well, the Knicks have the best player in the series in Jalen Brunson. And maybe, I don't know, a lot is going to depend on Cat and what he can summon and muster. But the Pacers come at you in waves. And Rick Carlisle knows exactly how to employ them and where to take advantage of the Knicks in those ways. I just think it's a long, grueling series.
So the Knicks were the first team that I ever cared about.
I know.
And I go all the way back to Willis Reed and Walt Frazier and Dave DeBusschere and Bill Bradley and the two championships they won, the only two championships that they won. But as you know, when I was a young sports writer, I go as far back with Indiana as the ABA.
Yeah.
And I covered games that Indiana played against the Nets. And I have great respect for Indiana. When they got to the NBA, the only thing I can ever think of in all the years in the NBA is Reggie Miller. Because it's like, to me, he was there for 50 years or something like that. I have rooted for the Knicks a lot, and I would love to see the Knicks win, but I'm afraid of the opening game. I'm afraid that's a game you can steal. The Pacers have beaten the Knicks in 5 out of 8 playoffs since 1993.
Some of the most exciting playoffs.
And these numbers here I'm going to give you. The Pacers are 42-16 since January 1st, and they're 5-1 on the road in the playoffs. So that worries me. I agree with you that Jalen Brunson, who is tough and is a leader and is a great player in New York, he is the key to the Knicks. He can't let the pace get too fast. He's got to slow everything down. And I wonder about this. You followed this more closely than I have. I don't think anybody looking at him at Villanova would have thought he'd be this good. No. Not this good. Although he won 2 championships,
but the league
maybe
didn't
he
think
is
so,
this
which
good.
is why he was drafted in the second round.
That's right. That's right.
And he reminds himself, you know how he reminds himself? His own charitable foundation is called Second Round. He reminds himself, this is what
that Tom
all
Brady
of you thought of me.
About all the people who drafted ahead of him?
Yes, but he is, Tony, he is
second round, last round.
Himself a great player.
He's a great player.
Right?
And he's, of all the people in this conference final circumstance, his stardom could be the largest of all if they win. Because of where he comes from. Because of where he comes from.
Yeah. And now to the NFL, where the tush-push lives. Owners needed 24 of 32 votes at today's NFL meetings to ban the push, but got only 22, 2 votes short. The Eagles then sent out a photo of the team lined up in the brotherly shove formation against the franchise that introduced the ban proposal, the hated cheeseheads, the Packers.
That's very cool.
With the caption, "Push on." That is very cool.
Very cool.
Tone, your reaction to 10 owners voting to keep this playing the game.
Okay, so let's go over the numbers again. They needed 75%. They needed 24. They got 68.7%. They got 22. So if you step back from that for a second, you see that overwhelmingly the owners don't want to have that. Overwhelmingly. I would have voted with the 10 who wanted to keep it because to me, it's not enough of a good reason to say we're no good at this, so we're going to ban it. That's my feeling. Unlike you, who thinks that when the NFL talks about player safety, it's very cavalier. That's how you.
Yeah.
I take it very seriously. But to this point, there's nothing to indicate that injuries on the tush push are anywhere close what they are on a kickoff.
Right.
And so I sort of reject that. And again, it just sort of feels like sour grapes to me. The Eagles do this, they do it great. The Bills do this, they do it great. I think it's like 87% of the time, you know, they
get first downs or touchdowns.
So here's what I would say.
Average, I think, is
if
71.
I was in another team, I'd go into the defensive room and I said, we pay you coaches a lot of money. You come up with a way to stop this thing. Or you know what? Don't get to the 1 yard line.
Okay, but
don't let them to the
draft. You got to acquire and assemble talent and build your roster differently. I mean, the Eagles have done this with that in mind, particularly after the first year they did it, which was about 3 years ago when you really started to see it habitually?
Yeah.
And strategically. Tony, I have mixed feelings. I'm more leaning toward you 60-40. Learn how to deal with it. And don't just outlaw it. Just legislate it out. Yeah. Although usually they're legislating out defensive things in the league because they want to get rid of them so they can let the Golden Boys stand there and throw for 4,500 yards. That's what the NFL is about. This thing I have a text chain, and everybody's brawling about this. This looks like rugby. It's no good for the game. And then I'm swayed a little bit. And I think this is going to come up a vote again. If there's one notable injury on a Sunday or a Monday night, you know what's going to happen.
But like the first time I saw it, I thought it had to be illegal. Didn't you think the same
because
thing?
Because pushing used to be illegal, but there's not.
Until 2005. Yeah. And then somehow it was changed. And it took this long to take advantage of it?
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's a pretty good play. Again, don't let the other team get to the one. Don't let them get there. Man. Let's take a break. Coming up, how foul is it to shoot a puck at the...
Different than they were last season when the Oilers won in 6.
I like when we have PK on.
I love when we have PK on.
He's very excited.
PK is excited about going to the Garden.
ESPN hockey analyst PK Subban. Let's start with this. The Panthers beat the Hurricanes 5-2 in their game 1 last night. 5-2, that's a lot of goals. What stood out to you from this game?
Well, Florida Panthers have found their game. We were wondering when they were going to find it in the Toronto series. Obviously, getting through the first 2 games, losing those games, then going down to Florida. But you could see the shift. They get the win in game 3, and then game 4, you could see it again. And then game 5, you saw another gear. So
that was an awkward scrum. With Marchand being sent off for the rest of the game, I don't remember that many times somebody shoots a puck at an opponent, but when it happens, how is it viewed?
Well, I would have liked to seen the game a little bit tighter in terms of the officiating, especially around the goaltender. Bobrovsky gets bumped twice.
Stars beginning tonight. The Oilers won the matchup in 6 last season. PK, are these teams substantively different than they were last year?
Well, let's start with the Dallas Stars. You know, Dallas Stars obviously looking for redemption. They retool their roster, obviously get Cody Ceci on the back end, but Mikko Rantanen, who's been the best player in the Stanley Cup playoffs this year, really sets this conference final up perfectly. But the Edmonton Oilers have gotten better. They've gotten deeper up front. I didn't think that they'd make it to this situation without Broberg and Holloway. Well, they didn't. I definitely didn't think they'd make it to this situation without Matthias Ekholm, and they didn't. And I couldn't fathom them getting to this situation with their goaltending situation, and they have. Pickard and Skinner have been phenomenal. So for the Edmonton Oilers, this is their year. Make no doubt about it. This is their year. They want to get another crack at the finals. They got to get it done. I think they have the team to do it. They've shown me they can play defense with this team. I thought they needed more on that back end. They've shown that they can play a different style. And here's the scary thing about Edmonton. McDavid and Draisaitl, to me, still look rested. They didn't have to do much last round. That's scary going into this round that those guys, I thought last year they were exhausted. You could see it in the finals. They just had no gas. I think they're going to have a little bit more energy this round. And if they can rely on their depth, the Evander Kanes, the Adam Henriques, the Corey Perrys, the Scory Perrys, to score some big goals, some depth goals in this series, this is a dangerous team. And I definitely think the Edmonton Oilers have a chance to hoist Lord Stanley. We could see a matchup of them and Florida when it's all said and done. I'm not taking anything away from Dallas, but greatest player in the world right now, Connor McDavid, poised. Chris Knobloch's done a great job, a fantastic job with this team so far in the playoffs. The cup could be coming back to Canada, so don't get festive there, Tony and Wilbon, with the cup down there in Florida, okay?
Well, we said the other day it'd be nice to see the cup reside for a year in a city where it actually snows.
Yeah.
I'll get you out of here on this, and I'm expecting a very short answer because I've listened to what you've said so far. It seems to me like you are expecting at this point a Florida-Edmonton rematch in the final.
I think we could see it. I really do. I think Edmonton's playing well. I think their goaltending's a huge sign. I think managing Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl's exposure and how much they're being utilized, they're still playing a lot, but they don't have to drive the bus. They're playing chess out there. Everybody's playing checkers, and you can see it. This team's got the experience now. They're poised. If their goaltending holds up, look out.
Thank you, PK, as always. Love to have you.
Appreciate it.
All right, thanks, guys.
You can catch more of PK tonight, starting with The Point at 7:30 Eastern. Let's take one last break, but still to come, Walker Buehler gets upset and then gets tossed.
And could we be nearing the end of the football rivalry between SC and Notre Dame?
Wilbon, I got to ask you this. PK is wearing a beautiful jacket. Is that mauve? Is that the color mauve? What color is that?
It's rosier than mauve.
Rosier than mauve?
It's great, though.
Looks good on him.
Looks great.
Yeah. Happy time, people. Happy 30th birthday, Jose Alvarado. Maybe this isn't the happiest of birthdays for Alvarado, the Phillies reliever who was just suspended 80 games for violating baseball's drug policy, testing positive for a type of testosterone that is a performance-enhancing substance. Alvarado's been with the Phillies the past 5 seasons. He was having a good season this year. 4-1 record, 2.70 ERA, team-leading 7 saves. Not only will Alvarado miss 80 regular season games, he'll be ineligible for the postseason, a complication that forces Philadelphia to think about how and when to use Alvarado when he returns, but happy birthday.
I guess if you're in a tight race and you need him to win a division or make a wild card, you use him. But if not, if you're out front, trade him. Trade him. Yes. Absolutely.
Do that.
Closer will fetch you something.
Happy anniversary, Cleveland Cavaliers. On this day 12 years ago, Cleveland won its second draft lottery in 3 years, drafted Anthony Bennett of UNLV, 2 years after drafting Kyrie Irving #1 overall. Bennett played only 4 seasons in the NBA, averaging just 4.4 points. Cleveland offloaded Bennett after 1 season to Minnesota as part of a package that brought in Kevin Love to help the returning LeBron James. The Bennett draft class is regarded as weak, but had C.J. McCollum at 10, Steven Adams at 12, Rudy Gobert at 27, and most of all, Giannis Antetokounmpo at 15.
Ding, ding, ding.
Bennett is still playing basketball, most recently in Taiwan. He's only 32 years old.
This is why you should fix the lottery. Cleveland's had enough cracks at it. LeBron, Kyrie, and Anthony Bennett, enough with Cleveland. Probably enough with San Antonio, too. Enough with them winning the lotteries.
Happy trails, Walker Buehler. The Red Sox starter got tossed in the 3rd inning of last night's game against the Mets. Here's how it went down. Buehler threw what appeared to be a strike to Juan Soto, while Francisco Lindor was stealing second. But home plate umpire Mike Estabrook shrugged it off. Buehler argued, quote, "It was right down the bleeping middle," unquote.
It was.
Estabrook said, "Get back on the mound." Lindor chimed in from second base, "Throw him out." And Estabrook did. And then did the same to Red Sox manager Alex Cora. The Red Sox got 6 2/3 innings of shutout relief from 6 different relievers, won the game anyway, 2-0.
See, this is when Estabrook was so wrong and so bullheaded and such an egomaniac. This is when you take bats out of the rack and throw them on the field and pull up the bases and go straight Lou Piniella, Billy Martin on an umpire. And if I ran the league, he'd be suspended for being a complete egomaniac.
The umpire, you would suspend the umpire.
Yes.
If I look back on this game and I was the Red Sox, I would be so proud that my relievers came in there.
Of course.
And they shut the team down and won anyway without a manager and without a player.
No penalty for him. The pitch was right over the middle. He was wrong and too bullheaded to just stop. Let it go.
You haven't yelled blue yet, as you always do.
Blue.
One correction. Pacers are 4-1 on the road, not 5-1 on the road. Wilbon gave me bad info. Let's go to the big finish.
Let's do it.
The Dodgers snapped their 4-game losing streak, and Shohei threw breaking balls off of flat ground, which is the bigger deal.
I'm not obsessed with Shohei pitching. The Dodgers winning a game after losing 4. They got a race out there with San Francisco and the Padres in Arizona. Pat Forty reports that Southern Cal and Notre Dame have yet to extend their football rivalry past the upcoming season. You love that game. Are you concerned?
I know. Of course I love that game. They probably have more Heisman trophies and more
two of them.
Total, national championships than anybody else, probably. The Dream beat the Fever in Indy last night, 91-90. Your thoughts?
Oh, Caitlin was really good again, but not good enough to win that game. A's rookie shortstop Jacob Wilson left last night's game after taking the pitch off his forearm. Concerned.
Okay, so he's batting .341. It's 3rd best in all of Major League Baseball, but the X-rays came back fine. So I'm not that concerned. Last one, the Orioles snapped their 8-game losing streak by beating the Brewers this afternoon. Your thoughts?
How about the Orioles? I like the Brewers losing. Even though they're 6 behind the Cubs, that means 4 behind the Cardinals. That division and race. Anytime cheeseheads in any sport can get comeuppance, Packers and Brewers, it's a good day.
We're out of time.
Try
and do better the next time. I'm Tony Kornheiser again in studio.
I'm Mike Wilbon. Same time tomorrow, Knuckleheads. You can get the podcast on the ESPN app or Apple Podcasts. And now,
cold in the sports center. All right, Wilbon. What is your favorite Pacers-Knicks playoff moment?
You know what it is, because it better be your favorite Knicks-Pacers playoff moment. And it's Reggie Miller. It's Reggie Miller hitting the 3, maybe or maybe not making contact with John Starks and hitting another 3 after a steal and 2 free throws in 9 seconds. Maybe that's it in Madison Square Garden. You took that assignment away from me because you were senior and you were there. The other day, I ran into the great Reggie Miller, who was broadcasting the game. And he said, you and Tony gave me too much credit because what I did was no better than what Halliburton did. And I go, no. Halliburton does not equal what you did in the Garden. Take it away.
I just want to clarify something.
What?
Were you there?
No, I wasn't there because you were there.
Was I there?
Yes.
Yeah, I was there.
Senior.
Yes, I was there. 8 points in 9 seconds. And if I'm not mistaken, goes like this to Spike Lee.
You're not mistaken.
Right after he does that, goes like this to Spike Lee, gives him the choke slam. That having been a Knicks fan and watching this, your reaction is, wait, what just happened? What just happened? What just happened?
Yeah.
You know, I was out of New York for a bunch of years by then, but I had that assignment.
Ago.
Yeah, I had that assignment, and I could. It is so visible in my mind. The way Reggie Miller got around on the court, the way he got the ball back, the way he made the shots, and it was like, oh no, how could this be happening? I understand that Indiana and the Knicks have a long playoff history, but that doesn't just stand out. That dwarfs
that stands out of all endings in NBA history.
Sure.
And let me just say this. I think this is very cool. I don't care if some Knicks fans are upset. Eat it, Knicks fans. Reggie Miller is calling the game for Turner. And that's appropriate and it's great because Reggie Miller is great at what he does. Yeah. All right? And that, Knicks fans.
Wait.
Really?
Wait. Let's be fair about something.
Knicks fans.
Let's be fair about something.
What?
Are you saying that if you're a Knicks fan, you don't have the sense that Reggie Miller, who has hurt you with his great play, might not, in this case, have a little bit of fun at your expense if the Pacers win?
That was a sense of historic appreciation of the Knicks fans. You know who else did that? Michael Jeffrey Jordan a few days. They're going to hold that against him forever? Hold your own team responsible for getting beat and choking.
Did Michael Jeffrey Jordan ever do this to Spike Lee?
By the way, you think Spike won't be there?
Oh, he'll be there.
He will.
Oh, sure.
He and Reggie are friends now.
Oh, sure.
I can't wait to see this. That's it. We're done. Back to you.
Mike, Tony, I can't wait for that as well. We got breaking news in the Sports Center. Not a surprise. Thunder star Shai Gilgeous-Alexander has won his first league MVP, according to Shams Charania. The 26-year-old won the scoring title, averaging over 32 points per game, added 5 rebounds and 6 dimes, and led the Thunder to the best record in the regular season. He was, by the way, brilliant last night in a Game 1 win over in the Western Conference Finals over the Timberwolves. SGA is now looking to become the 5th different player over the last 25 seasons to win MVP and the NBA Finals in a season. He would join Steph Curry, who was the last player to accomplish the feat back in 2015, as well as LeBron, Tim Duncan, and Shaquille O'Neal. And back here with legs, OKC dominated Minnesota last night in Game 1, winning by 26. That domination was really in the second half. What impressed you the most about that opening game win?
The way that Oklahoma City's defense was able to completely take Minnesota